Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Criminologist driving sexual violence reform named Monash Uni's new VC. Why investors failed to embrace Jeff Ubben's inclusive capital. Dennis Aquara, the light of Lemuel. What you need to know about Canberra's upcoming public school, mobile phone and smartwatch ban. Boris Johnson to face tough questions at COVID inquiry. Criminologist driving sexual violence reform named Monash Uni's new VC. The Sydney Morning Herald. Monash University has appointed Professor Sharon Pickering as its new Vice-Chancellor. Pickering is a criminologist who has helped shape the Australian government's proposed reforms on sexual violence in universities. She is the provost at the university and has worked with governments around the world to combat sex trafficking and family violence. Pickering has conducted fieldwork in Thai refugee camps and on the streets of Belfast. The appointment was praised by advocates who have called for changes on sexual violence, with one saying that Pickering had been a strong voice for survivors. Why investors failed to embrace Jeff Ubben's inclusive capital. Financial Times. Jeff Ubben's Inclusive Capital Partners will shut down after falling short of its fundraising target of $8 billion. The hedge fund was launched in 2020 with the aim of investing in non-ESG-friendly companies to drive change from within. However, Ubben's strategy of investing in companies such as ExxonMobil and Bayer, which are not traditionally associated with ESG investing, alienated the ESG community. Inclusive blamed the closure on public markets not rewarding its mission. Ubben co-founded the hedge fund after leaving his role as head of activist fund Value Act Capital. Dennis Aquara, the light of Lemuel. Financial Times. Dennis Aquara, a successful model and biochemistry graduate, has launched the Lemuel Foundation, a charity aimed at empowering the people of his community in northern Uganda. Aquara, who spent his childhood living with his paternal grandmother in Lemuel, escaped abduction by the Lord's Resistance Army during the 1987 to 2008 civil war in Uganda. He moved to the UK with his father and brother in the early 2000s. Aquara's foundation has so far spent around £40,000 on projects including school supplies, a health hub and a kitchen for Lemuel Primary School. Aquara's ultimate goal is to build a community centre for former child soldiers. What you need to know about Canberra's upcoming public school, mobile phone and smartwatch ban. ABC. Mobile phones and smartwatches will be banned from public schools in the Australian Capital Territory, Act, from 2024. The policy will apply to students in preschool through to Year 10, but excludes Chromebooks. The government hopes the ban will reduce sources of distraction and improve digital literacy. College students will be allowed to have personal communication devices at school, but they must be silenced and put away during class time. Principals will be responsible for implementing the policy, and exemptions may be granted on a case-by-case basis. Boris Johnson to face tough questions at COVID inquiry. New York Times. Former British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is set to testify before an official inquiry into his government's handling of the COVID-19 crisis. He will face questions about whether he delayed imposing a lockdown in March 2020 and about social gatherings that violated lockdown rules. Johnson is expected to admit to mistakes but will also argue that he made correct decisions, such as the vaccine rollout and reopening the economy in 2021. The inquiry, led by former Judge Heather Hallett, is expected to continue until 2026. Current Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will also face questions about his performance during the crisis. Critics have accused Johnson of changing strategies and failing to stick with decisions. Some experts have expressed concern that the inquiry is not doing enough to provide lessons for future pandemics. Osceola's Jalen Bell had 6 interceptions this season, but no offers, recruiting insider. Yahoo! Jalen Bell, linebacker safety at Osceola High, has had an impressive season, with 6 interceptions, a 3.3 GPA, and a spot on the school honor roll. But despite this, Bell has no Football Bowl subdivision scholarship offers. Bell is considered a tweener by some coaches, meaning they cannot decide whether he is a linebacker or a safety or corner or maybe even an edge rusher. Some coaches may believe he is not the right size for a linebacker, as they believe a linebacker must be 6'3", 235 pounds. Some may consider him a lower-level option, despite his obvious skills. Bell is waiting for a scholarship offer from a Power 5 conference and is optimistic that one will come. Meta, IBM join new alliance to keep AI open, but Microsoft and Google sit out. South China Morning Post. IBM, Meta, the parent company of Facebook, and several other companies and organizations have launched the AI Alliance, an alliance that aims to promote a more open and collaborative approach to the development of artificial intelligence. This puts them at odds with OpenAI and Google, which advocate for a closed system to ensure ethical and responsible deployment of AI. The debate over the future of AI has become increasingly important as the technology's role in everyday life grows. Open source advocates argue that sharing AI technology can spur innovation and prevent any one company from gaining too much control. The AI Alliance has about 50 founding members, including Intel and NASA, but OpenAI and Google are not among them. Have you seen Jurassic Park? Indonesia shelves mosquito trial amid backlash. South China Morning Post. Plans to release genetically modified, GM, mosquitoes in Bali to combat dengue fever have been put on hold indefinitely due to opposition from locals and experts. The pilot study in Yogyakarta, on which the plans were based, has been criticized as not being robust enough to justify the release of the new species. The plan involves introducing Aedes aegypti mosquitoes with the Wolbachia bacteria, which reduces their ability to transmit diseases. The program is part of a joint initiative between the World Mosquito Program, Monash University and Gajah Mada University, and has been rolled out in 12 countries. Earth on course for catastrophic tipping points, scientists warn. South China Morning Post. The world will face catastrophic consequences unless fossil fuels are abandoned, according to a report by more than 200 scientists. The researchers, led by the University of Exeter, identified 26 tipping points, which if passed, would lead to irreversible changes in natural systems with disastrous effects. The tipping points include the melting of polar and mountain glaciers and the disruption of oceanic currents. The report also identified positive tipping points which must be passed to avoid climate disaster, such as the increased availability of electric vehicles. The scientists called for urgent action on the issue. Wilberforce on notice for accreditation, university president says it's being addressed. Yahoo! Historically Black University Wilberforce has been warned by the Higher Learning Commission, HLC, that it is at risk of losing its accreditation due to issues including faculty shortages, financial instability, and a lack of integrated planning. The HLC has previously placed Wilberforce on probation but has since removed it. The university must demonstrate progress to the HLC by the next spring in order to keep its accreditation. Wilberforce says it has addressed many of the issues it was warned about, with enrollment increasing and retention at 71%. Brat spoils Canucks comeback as Devils win Hughes Bowl 6-5. The Globe and Mail. The New Jersey Devils defeated the Vancouver Canucks 6-5 in a thrilling NHL game that featured three brothers on the ice. Jesper Bratt scored the winning goal for the Devils with 34 seconds left in the third period. Jack Hughes had a goal and 2 assists for the Devils, while his younger brother Luke scored a power play goal. Vancouver's Quinn Hughes had 2 assists in the third period to help the Canucks rally from 3 goals down to tie the game. Did Hamas make millions from the October 7th attacks? The Sydney Morning Herald. A working paper by Robert Jackson Jr. and Joshua Mitt suggests that someone had advance knowledge of Hamas' plan to attack Israel on October 7 and profited from a crash in the Israeli share market. The authors analyzed trading patterns in Israeli shares in the weeks before the attack and found anomalies consistent with insider trading. The surge in short sales of the EIS ETF, which tracks Israeli share prices, is one example. The paper has prompted an investigation by Israel's Securities Authority. Oakland study finds parents as effective as teachers in tutoring young readers. Yahoo! A new report finds that a parent-led tutoring effort in Oakland produced similar gains in reading for young students as instruction from classroom teachers, a nod that could fuel similar efforts in other districts. The Oakland Reach, which paid for the evaluation, mobilized to improve literacy instruction before the pandemic and joined with the local NAACP to push the district to adopt a research-based reading program. The group criticized the quality of remote learning during COVID, but then it created its own online hub to focus on structured reading skills and saw promising results. After 5 weeks of virtual summer learning, some students gained as much as they would from 2 months of in-person reading instruction, data showed. We saw these big gains. You can't ignore that, said Lakeisha Young, the organization's CEO. We had to ask, what does this look like for a paraprofessional who is appropriately trained, trusted, and coached? How far could they go? The group expanded to serve students during the school year, and last year, received a significant boost from philanthropist Mackenzie Scott, who donated $3 million to the organization. Brownsville students to present NASA research at San Francisco AGU conference. Yahoo! 2 students from Pace Early College High School will present research they conducted over the summer at the University of Texas at Austin to the American Geophysical Union in San Francisco on December 14. The students, Viviana Novello and Jorge Hernandez, conducted their research under the auspices of the South Texas Astronomical Society, STARS, and were part of a NASA internship. Their research focused on climate change and involved launching balloons to measure atmospheric phenomena. Trump: I won't be a dictator if I become US president again. Reuters. Donald Trump stated that he will not become a dictator if he is re-elected as US president in 2024, except on day one. This comes after warnings from Democrats and some Republicans that America could become an autocracy under Trump's leadership. Trump has previously promised retribution on his political opponents if he regains power, including President Joe Biden and prosecutors who have charged him with crimes. Trump's rivals for the Republican nomination, including Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, will participate in a televised debate on Wednesday, but Trump has chosen to skip the event. Former U.S. Representative Liz Cheney, a critic of Trump, has warned that a Trump dictatorship is a very real threat if he wins re-election. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world, bringing you the latest news and updates from across the globe. Today, we've covered a diverse range of stories, from the appointment of a criminologist driving sexual violence reform as the new vice-chancellor of Monash University, to the launch of a charity by a biochemistry graduate aimed at empowering his community in Uganda. We also discussed a ban on mobile phones and smartwatches in Australian public schools, Boris Johnson's upcoming testimony at a COVID-19 inquiry, and the launch of the AI Alliance by IBM and Meta. Additionally, we explored the controversy surrounding genetically modified mosquitoes in Bali, the urgent need for action on climate change, the challenges faced by historically black University Wilberforce, and a thrilling NHL game featuring 3 brothers on the ice. Now, let's dive into some analysis. The appointment of Professor Sharon Pickering as Monash University's new vice-chancellor is a significant step towards addressing sexual violence in universities. Her expertise and advocacy for survivors make her a strong choice for this role. However, the closure of Jeff Ubben's Inclusive Capital Partners highlights the challenges faced by investors who try to drive change from within non-ESG-friendly companies. Sometimes, the market doesn't reward such efforts, leading to a lack of support and ultimately, failure. On a more uplifting note, Dennis Akwar's Lemuel Foundation is a shining example of how individuals can make a difference in their communities. His dedication to empowering the people of northern Uganda, particularly former child soldiers, is commendable. As for the mobile phone and smartwatch ban in Australian public schools, it aims to reduce distractions and improve digital literacy. While some may question its effectiveness, it is a step towards creating a focused learning environment. The upcoming COVID-19 inquiry in the UK, where Boris Johnson will testify, is an opportunity to examine the government's handling of the crisis. While Johnson is expected to admit to mistakes, he will also defend key decisions, such as the vaccine rollout. It's important that this inquiry provides valuable lessons for future pandemics, as some experts have expressed concerns about its effectiveness. In the world of sports, Jalen Bell's lack of scholarship offers despite his impressive performance highlights the challenges faced by young athletes who don't fit into traditional molds. It's a reminder that talent and skill should be recognized beyond rigid expectations. Meanwhile, the launch of the AI Alliance by IBM and Meta showcases a different approach to the development of artificial intelligence. Their aim to promote collaboration and openness is in contrast to the closed system advocated by OpenAI and Google. The future of AI will undoubtedly be shaped by these differing perspectives. Moving on to the controversial topic of genetically modified mosquitoes, the opposition in Bali shows the importance of robust research and community engagement in such initiatives. While the potential benefits of reducing dengue fever are significant, it's crucial to address concerns and ensure transparency. As for climate change, the report by scientists warning of catastrophic consequences emphasizes the urgent need to abandon fossil fuels. The identified tipping points serve as a reminder that action must be taken now to prevent irreversible damage to our planet. Lastly, we discussed the challenges faced by historically black University Wilberforce, which is at risk of losing accreditation. The university must address faculty shortages, financial instability, and other issues to retain its accreditation. It's a reminder that even esteemed institutions need to constantly strive for improvement. There you have it, my friends. A whirlwind tour of the latest news. Now, I turn to you, our esteemed audience. What are your thoughts on these stories? Do you agree with the decisions made or do you have alternative perspectives? Let's open the floor for discussion and hear your intriguing ideas. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6do Brief via email.